Greetings, my name is Tim Johnson. This is Recovery, Strength, Hope and Courage. Originally, I'd intended to make a video about acupuncture and acupressure today, but I've got involved with a story of a guy called Craig J. Davies from Wales, from Swansea in Wales. I've been subscribed to his channel for a while, um, and he's just relapsed again. He's really struggling at the moment, going through withdrawals badly yesterday. And Rockin' Roberta pointed all this out and gave everyone a shout, and Alicia did, gave everyone a shout to go over and give him some support. And Craig, I'm making this video for you today, really. And if it spurs anyone else on, then that's great. But really, it's for you, because you asked me a couple of questions yesterday when I sent you a message on your site, on your video. And you asked me what made me stop drinking, because you've had some fantastic success with actually stopping, and then unfortunately you suffer from depression, and you got involved in this thing recently where you drank for 5 days, 5 days solid, and then you're withdrawing from that at the moment. And I know you're intending to make a video diary over the next year, a daily diary, which gives you a goal, which is great to have goals, small goals, always small goals. And that keeps you spurred on and motivated, knowing that you're helping other people, and you are helping other people. By just putting the message out there and being brave enough to come on here is helping other people. Anyone that does it, I applaud them. It's not an easy thing to do, to put yourself out on the line and show people how you're struggling and or not. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of bravery and a lot of strength. So anyway, Craig, you asked me what made me stop. What was the catalyst this time? I've been an opiate addict for 30 odd years, but I've drunk for even longer and drink. And I've said this before on here, alcohol has always been the catalyst to me relapsing. If I've ever stopped taking opiates, alcohol has always been there. It's been a major problem for me all my life, ever since I can remember, really. And when I've stopped taking opiates, it's escalated to levels that could have killed me, basically. And recently, what was the major catalyst that made me stopping this time? Well, I'll tell you. Craig, you talked about symptoms you were having, itchy skin, liver, pointing to liver problems, the vomiting and all the rest of it. I was going through some major issues on a daily basis. I couldn't even hold a glass to have a drink of water in the morning when I woke up, because I was shaking that much until I had a drink. I couldn't walk, my legs were shaking, my whole body was in tremors, which are like mini seizures, before I had a drink in the morning. This was a daily occurrence. Also, a daily occurrence was the palpitations and my heart racing up to over 100 beats a minute on a regular basis. At rest, this was. The constant sweats and the smell coming off me, appalling. The daily vomiting. The first thing I did in the morning was vomit, and eventually I was vomiting up. And I hate to be crude about this, or make anyone ill if you're eating, but I used to vomit up blood, and it didn't stop me, and these are just a few of the things that were happening to me. I wasn't eating. If I did eat, because of the alcohol and giving you, because the high sugar content of alcohol, you get massive sugar spikes. So you tend to binge eat rubbish, basically. Anything you can get down. But you don't eat. You eat nothing nutritious anyway. You don't drink water. Your only liquid you're taking in is the alcohol, which is dehydrates you anyway. It's a diuretic, a major diuretic. Basically, you're just putting the poison into your mouth. You might as well just drink a bottle of bleach, because as soon as you put alcohol in your mouth, into your body tries everything in its power to expel it and to detoxify your body. So this was going on, and daily I was forgetting things. I was I was in a constant fog. I had no respect. People never used to talk to me. They used to see this shambling figure And if I did sit down and talk to anyone anywhere, I obviously talked a load of rubbish and bored them to tears. I was disruptive. These were all just daily occurrences, and but the frightening thing was my health, and I was putting on massive amounts of weight as well, because of the binge eating and obviously the amount of calories in alcohol. So I went home, not this Christmas, this was the Christmas before, and my daughters were there, and wife and everything. We went home to spend Christmas in England, and I was in such a state. Because I'd stopped. I never drink in front of my daughters or my wife out of respect, really. So whenever I see them, whenever I saw them when I was in the midst of my addiction, I used to try and withdraw. I was still taking opiates because I couldn't stop everything. But prior to going to England, I stopped drinking alcohol for about 3 days before. So when I got to England, I didn't even think about it. I was in such a hell of a state. I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't hold a glass. I couldn't. Even my sister-in-law noticed on the plane on the way over, and thought they thought I was really ill. Anyhow, my daughters came to me during that Christmas holiday and were crying, and said, they'd never seen me in such a state before, and they said that they wanted me to be at their weddings, and they wanted me to play with the grandchildren when they got married, and they just wanted me alive. Basically, they wanted the man that they knew when they were young, because obviously I hadn't got as bad then, but so, but even that didn't stop me. I'm so disgusted with myself when I think about it afterwards. It made me think very hard, but I still went on for a period of 7 months, 8 months before I stopped the opiates. I stopped the opiates in early August last year, and because obviously they were doing me not. I don't think as much physical harm even as alcohol, because alcohol is worse than any drug, in my opinion. But combined the two was lethal. And there were days I didn't remember anything at all. And blacked out. It was a daily occurrence. But when I stopped that, the struggle of withdrawal, got through all the opiate withdrawals and all the rest of it. Um, Communicated that to my family. But behind the scenes, without telling anybody, I carried on drinking, telling myself that I could just have a few, looseners at the end of the day, sit on the balcony and watch the sunset with a couple of beers, and I deserved that because I'd stopped taking opiates, and so I deserved that reward. A load of crap, load of bollocks, load of bullshit, basically. It's the addict in your brain, because alcohol does exactly the same as opiates does to your brain. The addict in your brain just telling you you can have that drink. Anyhow, to cut a long story short, it escalated and escalated until I was drinking a couple of bottles of vodka a day, beers, wine. Some days when I couldn't afford vodka, you could get wine for 65 cents a litre here, 4 litres of wine. I was in such a mess. And then one day I talked to my children and on the phone and put on this front. And one day I just woke up feeling so ill and puking blood and shaking and all the usual stuff going on. Worse than any hangover you can ever imagine in your life. This is DT's basically setting in before I had my first drink. The first thing I did in the morning was drink. Um, Anyhow, I woke up this morning in September, just beginning of November, and knowing that I was going home for Christmas to see my children again and my wife, and that I didn't want to go home in the same state. But I had a straight choice because I was dying. I really was, and I was scared because I was dying. I was dying. I was killing myself. I couldn't. If I'd have carried on, I would have been dead probably by Christmas. To the extent I was drinking. So I had a straight choice. Did I want to live, or did I want to die? Carry on and die. Did I want to see my children get married? Yes. Did I want to play with the grandchildren if they had children? Yes. Did I want to continue the relationship with my beautiful wife who stood by me all this time through all the shit I've given her? Yes. Did I want to see the sunrise here and the sunset here and see all the beauty around me instead of this mental fog? Did I want to live life with dignity, with self respect, honour, honourably, with strength and courage, or did I want to disintegrate and die? Straight choice, and I chose life. And I know that sounds corny, but I chose life, Craig. And you need to choose life. You need to. I know you've got the strength to do this. I know you've got the strength to get through this. I mean, you're going through a horrible shit time at the moment. The withdrawals are horrible. The mental aspect, your depression, because alcohol is a depressant as well as you know. The more you drink, if you've got depression, the worse your depression's going to get. So you need to get through this bit. You need to start go and see a doctor about your depression. You need to see maybe a counsellor. You need to start eating healthily. You need to start drinking 6 litres of water a day at least. Getting plenty of fruit and vegetables and nutrition down you. Getting outside in the fresh air and exercise, on a daily basis. Just slow general walking, even if it's 500 yards down the road. If you do it a couple of times a day, that'll get you going. It'll get you motivated. And all of a sudden, a month or so along the line, you'll realise that you really do want to live, and you really are starting to live, and you can hold your head up. And all the difference this has made to me, the alcohol's probably made more difference to me than the opiates. I mean, I'll tell you a story now. I went into a bar I used to haunt called La Cepa in Bellamadina the other day. First time I've been in there, I used to go in there and get pissed every day. It used to be my first thing mid morning. I used to go in there and have very large brandy and a beer. And Luis is the waiter there, and hadn't seen him for ages because I deliberately steered clear. But I felt so good. I just wanted to go in there for coffee, and I went in and I sat down at the table outside, and before I knew it, Lewis had come with a with a beer and a brandy, and I said, "No, Lewis, sin alcohol, Lewis." I said, "No more, never again." So he apologised profusely, but I had a choice then because it was sitting in front of me for a bit, you know. And this is the choice you've got to make. Do I put that into my mouth? Do I put that into my body? And you get strong enough, and you say, no, I don't want that shit inside of me. I don't want that poison inside of me. I want to continue feeling the way I feel, waking up clear and fresh every morning. No fug, solving problems, achieving the goals I'm setting out to achieve. And I'm talking about, with drugs as well as alcohol, but alcohol in this video in particular. And Lewis came out and sat and talked to me. First time he's ever sat and talked to me, and he's talked to me with respect, and we had a nice conversation. I couldn't. I mean, 4 months ago, I couldn't have done that. I was a joke. But I made the choice. I had the power over the alcohol. The alcohol did have fuck all power over me. I had the power over the alcohol. I chose not to put it in my body, and I will continue forever choosing not to put it into my body, just like I will the drugs, because I want to continue this, and the respect's coming back from my family, and they're starting to, because it's an old story for them, isn't it? Oh, it's going to relapse, and I don't blame them in the slightest because it happened and they expected it to happen, but they're beginning to slowly see that I'm in business this time, and this is for life now. This is for life. And Craig, you can have all this. You don't have to be the richest man in the world or to love life. You don't have to have things, have material things. You can just get out in the sunshine, breathe in the fresh air, look around you, see things for the first time clearly, and you will find that things will start coming to you, and you will start achieving all the goals that you set out to achieve, and life will become good as the universe starts to give you things because you're giving back. I start to volunteer on the 13th of this month with the Ángeles de la Noche Malaga, which is the Angels of the Night, serving homeless people. I'm doing it 2 days a week, giving back. I want to give back. There's a couple of thousand people on the streets of Malaga, a lot of them suffering from drug and alcohol problems. I'm doing a couple of days a week, which is just preparing, cooking, and serving food to them. And perhaps dealing with a few problems along